Hey, I'm Brian with Syrup and Eggs. I'm here with Mike. We're finishing up our 2025 maple syrup. We got everything prepared. 2 weeks ago, we did our main boil off outside. We're finishing up inside. So if you want to learn how we do it, we finish up, we do our filtering, and then our sanitizing and bottling.
Frostbitten morn through the mist where the syrup's born. With a strum of strings, my soul takes flight, chasing the sweetness in the pale moonlight. Oh, I ramble on down the sweet amber road, where the maple flows free and the legends grow. Through the fire and frost, I'll carry my load for the syrup of kings on the wild wind blows.
All right, so we got this to the boiling point. I started with those 3 pots, and now, you know, we're above the boiling temperature of water. We're taking it 7 degrees above that, and you really got to monitor this because you'll see how quickly this can, you know, just blow up and start boiling, and it'll just start rising. Then once we get it to that point, we're going to use the hydrometer and check and see if we're there. So this will be the first test with the hydrometer this year because, yeah, see, here it comes. And if I keep the temperature up there, it'll just boil over. Even though it's, you know, got 6 inches or so to come up and over, it'll go quickly. Yeah, so we're like 6 to 7 degrees above the boiling temperature of water. You see how deep and dark that is coming up and how small the bubbles are getting, like around the perimeter and stuff. So we're just about there. We're going to let it go about another minute or so, try to get us up 1 more degree of temperature so that we don't waste any syrup when we try to use the hydrometer on it. Now the hydrometer, that measures the specific gravity, so it'll let us know the sugar content, and there's a specific number you have to get to for it to be syrup. Okay, let's take a test. See, that sunk down. If you look at the edge, that had a 2-inch foam head on it. And this is why you don't want to test too often, because look at all that syrup there, and you're just going to lose that. Okay, we're a little below the red line there. So we're going to just heat it up. It's probably got to just get a little bit more heat. There's probably still a little too much water in there that has to boil off. And this is what I was talking about. So now what happens is we pour this back in. You see how much is on that paper towel and how much is going to stick to this. And you also have to wash off the hydrometer itself, because that'll give you a false reading. That won't give you an accurate reading of, you know, the syrup once you get it to that point. All right, I'll be right back. All right, so now this is our sanitizing bath. Everything's been washed, the bottles, the lids, and, you know, like sometimes you might forget, you have to wash the apparatus that you're air drying them on, right? So all of these things have been done, because it wouldn't make sense to put something you sanitized onto something that wasn't. Then you could have a transfer. Okay. And then you just let these air dry. You don't towel dry these. Let them air dry. And in the meantime, what we'll do is we'll get our filter set up and we'll start getting ready on that. All right, now we got to. We're getting ready for the filter. Last year we tried the vacuum filter and didn't work. We had a lot of spills and we never perfected it. So we're going to go back to just a gravity filter. This is an Orlon filter. It's the finished filter that they suggest you use. Now you have to be careful you don't wring it out, but because you break the way the fibers are, okay, and then more sediment and stuff can get through. Now they tell you to pre-wet this, and then we're also going to use another cone filter that it's like a pre-filter that'll take some of the bigger stuff out. And I'm going to go over some of the other. I pre-filtered before we boiled off, and I'll show you what that looks like. Now what we do is we're going to set it up on here. So that it stays suspended above where we're going to drain it into our dispenser pot. Same shape. It's just going to take a lot of the stuff out so that this Orlon filter, the expensive one, doesn't get clogged up as easily. And then we'll have some ones on standby here too, so that if this does get too clogged and we can't remove it, we'll take it out and we'll start a new one in while we let this one drip freely into above it. All right, so I'm going to put some spacers in here to keep this from collapsing in, and we're going to go bring our syrup up to the proper temperature, and then we're going to pour directly into our dispenser here. So we fill it up in here, and then this is how we make sure we close that valve. And then that way we can fill our bottles very easily. Okay, we prepped everything. We got our filter that's ready to go. We're just warming this up because it had cooled down too much. It's starting to come to a boil again. So we're going to just knock it down. We've got it. It's over 200 degrees now, closer to 215 or so. So we're going to just knock it down a little bit. We'll give it like a minute or two just to settle so that all like the sugar sands and stuff won't be suspended in there for when we do our filtering, since we haven't perfected our filtering. So we're going back and forth. We were doing gravity filtering, then we tried the vacuum filtering, now we're back to gravity, and we just don't want to get things clogged up. So I'm going to knock this down and we're going to give it about a minute or two for things to settle, and then we'll go pour directly into the filter, which will get into our dispenser pot, and then we can bottle. Okay, well, we're ready to pour through here now. We're going to pour pretty slow so that we can, I'm going to be looking and make sure that we don't have visible sediment or sugar sands coming through, because we don't want these filters getting clogged up. See, look at the sugar sands in the bottom there. So we'll let everything settle, and then we'll take a look at these filters and see how they're doing. So I think we'll switch to another filter, and we'll let that one settle, and we'll pour that one in. Mike, could you get me that other pot? No, the one that's dry in there. Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna just put this in here for now. Yeah, look at that. It paid off letting this settle. See, that's all. I should have stopped a little sooner. We'll eat that with a spoon. All it is sugar. Alright, so this is stuff we didn't want to put through the filter because it was too thick. It had all these sugar sands in it. Let's see what it tastes like. It's a shame to waste it. It tastes great, but very gritty. Yep, a lot of sugar in there. Look at what's stuck to the spoon. I already licked this like 3 times. Now all of this has settled through here. See how clear that is coming through? And I'm still going to go through that Orlon filter when it comes through. This is filtering pretty good. I'm a little surprised. I had such a hard time with it before. I think just a few changes have really helped it. Oops. So although videos are good and everything, nothing beats the experience. Okay. Okay, Mike, hold that for me. Okay, so we got this emptied by actually collapsing it like this and then letting it filter through the clean part, right? So some of these, like if I were to flip this over, if I had some in here, that way we get it through without, but take a look at this. Look at how much stuff we kept out of that better filter. If you don't filter, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just sugar sands. It just, you know, it's nice when you have it bottled up and even after months or a year, it's still crystal clear right through. So still have that other filter over here that I'm gonna do the exact same thing to, and then we're gonna be close to finished.
Whatever.
So this was our first filter, and I put it in the pot so that we could switch things because it was so heavy. And so all of this came out of it so far. So over time, it's been coming out. It's only been about 5 minutes. I've poured it off a couple times already. So we're going to just pour this one through. Nice and clear. Look at that. And then I'm going to take this other filter, the one I'm in my hand here, and I'm going to do like I was explaining on the last one. I'm going to turn it on its side and let it filter through where the fibers aren't clogged. So you'll probably be able to hear it dripping in once I get it on its side. So that really increased the flow. So this thing will be empty in no time. And then we'll have to do the same thing with that one that's inside there. So that'll be 3 filters. So I used 4 pre-filters before we boiled. We got 3 pre-filters after it's been turned to syrup. That was just when it was, you know, on the way to being syrup. And this 1 Orlon filter, which still might take a while for the rest of it to get through there, because that thing is tough. I mean, it really does a nice job, but it does take a while. That's where I think the that's hot. That's where I think the vacuum filter press, you know, if we could get it working right, would be pretty helpful. Or they do have, you know, mechanical filter presses too. But this stuff's all expensive and it does take an awful lot of time. Oops.
Kettle hums with a witch's brew. Steam rises high neath the sky so blue. A taste of the earth, a gift from the pine, dripping like honey through the hands of time. The axe bites deep, the rhythm calls, echoes of thunder in the forest halls. With a riff that roars and a voice that cries, I see the maple gleam in the raven's eyes.
All right, well, here we have it. We started with about 80 gallons. We ended up with about 140 yield. Not the best. Could be, there's several things that, you know, we lose some in each of the filters. We lose some when it sticks to our evaporator pans, you know, using 6 of those 6-inch deep buffet tray pans. So there's a lot of different things. We had very little spills. It could also be that, you know, maybe we didn't have all sugar maples, but the stuff looks great. I mean, it is crystal clear, nice and dark, late season. That's what we hear. We never did an early tapping, but everybody seems to think that you get a lighter colored syrup from there. So we'll try that next year, and we'll see how it goes. Anyway, hope you like this. If you like it, you know, give us a thumbs up. We'd love a subscription. You know, if we're trying to grow the channel and put out some good content. So yeah, please subscribe. All right, thanks. See you next time.
Ramble on, the journey's sweet and strong. Maple calls my name